Sure, it's Father Luke Melakrinos, born in Des Plaines, Illinois in 1970. Kids loved the schools here. Everything was going great and smooth. My wife is working for Sioux City Schools as an elementary school counselor. You know, Orthodox Christian, when they walk into a church, the first thing they do is light a candle, they bless themselves, and they venerate icons, which looks like, you know, people kissing a picture to the outside perspective. So there's already, like, immediately there's things that happen. Plus, you know, Mediterranean, European people are, you know, they're huggers, they're kissers. You know, there's a lot of contact. You know, when we receive Holy Communion, we receive from the same chalice and one spoon. Just as a symbol of that communion is not just between God and me, but there's a whole level of communion that's, you know, between the people as well. So it's not just an individual act, but everything that we do as Orthodox Christians is together. So we are also under the metropolis of Chicago. So they set the guidelines for us, and out of obedience, even though we're all the way out in Sioux City, we're still following their regulation. And the instructions were to make sure that the church was, like, locked, because they, you know, they didn't want people just out of piety and good intention showing up, you know, at a time of pandemic, especially right at the beginning. We had no idea what we were facing and what we were going through. You know, so it was an interesting callback to, like, the house churches of the early Christian faith, you know. So, like, I was doing services, just like services of supplication for help, you know, and healing. And it's interesting because I just kind of point the camera of my phone on an icon and do the prayers, you know, and it's like from my kitchen. You know? And it's just like, it's such a strange thing on some levels, but at the same time, it was something people needed, you know, and I think we all needed that. We just needed that kind of touching that heavenly when, you know, the earthly is such a mess. That appreciation is a good thing because, look, there's a lot of churches that are still being persecuted, and the people can't worship the way that we can. Like, it's a luxury for us, and I think we gained a new appreciation for that just by experience of this is a gift that we have. The difference before the pandemic and after the pandemic is we have people coming in off the street, and I think people had time to kind of, you know, process the whole idea of the pandemic and the suffering in the world, and I think it woke a lot of people up spiritually. That was like kind of a nice blessing of the whole pandemic too, is spending time with my kids, that, you know, not having to go anywhere else. I'm like one of the few people that likes when there's like a snowstorm, because like, this is nice because we're all stuck at home together, you know. So yeah, St. Paul says, he says in Greek, katikon ekklesia, every house is a church, you know. So it's an interesting, you gotta take care of the house church too. So it was good. It was a good time to rebuild that.
Support for Facing a Changed World, an oral history of the COVID-19 pandemic, comes from the Margaret Ann Martin Everest Foundation, the Kind World Foundation, Humanities Iowa, the Friends of Siouxland Public Media, and listeners like you.